Hey there, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Shalita here. So, you guys, a while back, Will from Will TV's vlogs tagged me in a video about books that we wanted to see turned into movies or series, something to that effect. So books that we want to see on the big screen or the small screen. So, I think I'm ready. I think I think it's time to circle back and respond to that tag. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the books that are so immersive, so amazing that I feel like I want to see this played out for real on a screen somewhere. But before we jump into those things, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And until the next one, friends. Oh my God, y'all, I'm signing off. This is my brain. This is your brain. This is your brain with no caffeine. All right, so before we jump into things, if you would be so kind to please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So first, I want to start with some thrillers that I think would be excellent on the big screen or the small screen. So the first one, y'all already know. I mean, I've said it in other videos. The first one is Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This book right here is full of so much action and grit and excellent character development. I'm gonna give my age away here. Anybody out there remember those movies, like those revenge movies with Charles Bronson? I'll put a picture up here, like the Death Wish, Death Wish 2, Death Wish 3, Death Wish 4. And the Steven Seagal revenge movies. What was it? I can't remember his name. I'll put it up here too. But this is what this book gives. This book follows Ike and Buddy Lee. Ike and Buddy Lee are two ex-cons. You have a black dad, you have a white dad. So their sons were homosexual. They were a married couple and they were brutally murdered. So Ike and Buddy Lee saddle up on their quest for revenge and answers, you know. They want to know what happened to their sons. They want to know who did it and who the hell they need to make pay. This is just one of those, this would make such an excellent like action revenge thriller on the big screen, because it already is, you know, in print. So on the big screen, I could just see this. I can't think of what actors would be great in these roles, but I could definitely see, if we're talking about directors, and I think Will said it as well, I think, you know, Antoine Fuqua, I think he would do excellent with this. I think even Ryan Coogler would probably kill it directing this, or Jerry Bruckheimer. You know, those are some of the bigger name like action film directors. But yeah, I would love to see this on the big screen. So the next thriller is also a thriller by S.A. Cosby. It's All the Sinners Bleed. I think this one will make an excellent. This one reminds me a lot of Criminal Minds, because, you know, we have this, I think he's a sheriff. Yeah, like he's the first black sheriff in this, you know, in this small town. And then we have a serial killer on the loose. Yeah, I think this one would be great as a movie or a series. This deals a lot with themes of like racism, religion, policing in small towns, you know, policing in America. It's very, you know, it's a very tense book. It's very suspenseful. It would make an excellent, you know, film or series. The next thriller that I think would make an excellent film or series is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Y'all, this book, I tell you, this character, this, like I guess the villain in this, I had such a visceral reaction to this woman. Like, she creeped me out. And she creeped me out. She pissed me off. I was just like, like she really got under my skin. But this book definitely reads like the movie Single White Female. This is what Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, Jennifer Jason Leigh's character was obsessed with Bridget Fonda, and yeah, very stalkery, just that obsession, that stalker behavior. That is what this character, and let me remember the characters' names in the book. None of this is true, follows her two main female characters, Alex and Josie. So Alex is this like big time podcaster. She has a major show, major podcast, a major radio show, and she does this series about important women, women in all walks of life who are making an impact and making a difference, or something to that effect. And then we have Josie, she's this unassuming housewife. She seems meek and mild-mannered and mousy and very much, introverted. At least that's what she seems, right? Turns out Alex and Josie share a birthday. Josie convinces Alex to do a segment on her. Alex agrees. Alex eventually starts to see Josie as this, manipulative person. And she starts learning little things about Josie, and it's just real creepy. And just the way that the things progress, I think it could work even better as like a series. But yeah, it was a wild ride, and I think the whole like the podcast aspect of it too would look good on screen. Josie was definitely like I said, Single White Female meets Glenn Close and Fatal Attraction. Honey, she was out there. She was dangerous. Okay? So, let's talk about some romance novels that would make excellent movies or series. So for starters, this one is already being turned into a movie or a series, though. The Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan. You all have heard me talk at length about this series, so I won't go into it. It's already in the works. It's already had the green light, so I can't wait for that. I can't wait for that to roll out. So I think it is a series, not a movie. The next book that I think would make a great movie would be How to Fail at Flirting by Denise Williams. Y'all, I absolutely loved this book. I feel like it's the perfect like rom-com movie. Like it has the perfect bones, structure, all of it. It's fun, it's flirty. You've got these characters that you bond with, that you find adorable and that are quirky. They are likable characters. This one is about Jake and Naya. So Naya is a college professor, and Jake is this businessman of a sort. So they meet one night, it's like kind of like a random meeting. Naya was supposed to meet her friends at a bar. She's had a few drinks, and then she meets Jake, and they have this kind of like meet cute. He overhears her on the phone with her friends or whatever, and so they just start kind of like talking and flirting and teasing and joking with each other. They kind of have their first little awkward date. After that ends in disaster, and Nia thinks, well, she's never gonna hear from this guy again, but then she does. And just like most like romantic comedies, there's always like the small little conflict that makes you think, oh, they're not gonna end up together, but then they do. Oh wait, I almost completed this thriller section without talking about Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. And I almost hate to talk about it right now because I still need to talk about it in my wrap up. But this book would make an excellent movie or series. I'm gonna say movie, okay? I know a lot of people have compared this to Squid Games, and I will say that yes, I can see the comparison, but I feel like this is a you could say maybe this is a cross between that and like maybe a more modern day Lord of the Flies. Okay, so we have Adina, who is this black girl at this prestigious elite um, private school, and it's, you know, it's predominantly for the white and wealthy. Okay, two W's, white and wealthy. Adina gets into a fight, like literally, you know, I thought this, oh, maybe it's just a little argument. No, she literally gets into a fight with like the Regina George of the school, and it has consequences, which basically put her future at risk, right? So her only shot at maybe at hopefully getting her life back on track, her, you know, her future, her education, is to, sorry for it, DJ. Her only shot at getting her future back on track is to enter into this competition. You can't just enter in it, right? You have to be chosen. You have to be selected for this competition. Adina gets, you know, finds a way, somehow gets accepted into this program, but it's not what she expected. It is very cutthroat. It is it's not you're not just getting up here and answering questions. You know, this is not a pageant, you know. You have these girls entering in this competition who, you know, otherwise in the light of day, you know, they are very prim and polished, and, you know, they are the perfect daughters. But in this competition, it's, you know, it's every woman for herself. And they are ruthless and they are cutthroat in what they will say, what they will do to win. And it's primal. And it's jarring because you're like, these are girls. This is somebody's daughter, right? These are young women. And they are behaving in a manner that is very much not ladylike. So not only are we dealing with that, with this competition, but you have the examination of basically, gender roles and race and class and legacy and tradition. And there are so many parts in this book that just gave me the chills, just like certain things they said. These girls in this book, I mean, they kicked it. I mean, they killed it. The writing is, the way she wrote these characters, and the many layers to them is just so amazing. So the character development, to see that, in a movie, would be amazing. I know everybody has compared this to Gossip Girl, so you're thinking, oh, we already have this, but how many like teen dramas do we have? A million, a gazillion, whatever, multiple, right? So there's always room at the table. Everybody can eat, okay? This, I feel like somebody did say that this is possibly being turned into a series. So if so, hooray. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. So I think this would work better as a series versus a movie. And here's why. There isn't like some big there's like no there isn't like this big moment in it, right? We are following the lives of this of our main female character and her crew of friends, right? So we have Magnolia as our main female character. We have BJ as the main male character. These two they're in their early 20s. They have been childhood sweethearts. They've been dating since they were like in middle school or high school. So they've known each other their whole lives. They have been each other's whole world. And till, something happens and they break up. So we just keep following them on this push and pull, this toxic, codependent, enabling relationship that they have. They just keep doing things to hurt each other, hurt themselves. Self-destructive behavior, especially with BJ. They don't seem to understand how to exist in a world with each other, or even without each other. But there's a lot of like high fashion in here. There's a lot of glitz and glam, which would make it, great for a series. And like I said, we're kind of following their lives, and the way that Magnolia, the way that she narrates her chapters, the way that she speaks. I've said it in a past video. It very much reminds me of the way the character Felicity used to, you know, chronicle her life in college. She used this tape recorder and she would talk to it. So when Magnolia is narrating, when she's speaking, I feel like she is just so uninhibited, unfiltered. It's like she's having this deep soul searching conversation with herself or with her priest. She's just unburdening herself. So this would make an excellent series just because of the way that their relationship kind of rolls out, just the constant tug of the back and forth, the glitz and glam, the conflict between these characters. I mean, there is so much dysfunction in their little friend group that you can definitely, I mean, it's a book series, so clearly you can definitely make a series, a streaming series, television series, if you will, with multiple seasons, because it just, the saga continues. It goes on and on. We talked about some romance. We talked about some thrillers. I think from here on, we're just gonna like mix and match things. So the next book I'm gonna talk about is Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. So this is a historical horror, historical thriller, or historical fantasy. And here's what's so cool about this one. So this one is, like I said, is historical horror, historical fantasy, set during the time of the Mexican-American War. It's a period piece. So you've got the costumes, right? Hello. Those would look great on a big screen. So you've got the costumes, you've got the description of, what Mexico looked like before, before, before and during the Mexican-American War. So we get to see what that part of the world looked like compared to what it does now. Just the descriptions of the landscape and things like that was just, I loved it. We see, we got vampires in here, right? And the role that vampires play in this book during this war is pretty interesting and unique. So we got war, so we know we got action. Everybody loves a good war film, right? You got vampires. Who doesn't love some vampires? You put them two together, it's going to be action-packed and blood, guts, gore. But there's also a bit of a love story in here. I would definitely want to see this on a big screen versus a series. I want this, at least at the very least, I want it on, HBO. If it's going to be a streaming service, give me all the guts, gore, and violence, or whatever. The next book, which is actually a series. I didn't grab book 2, but I grabbed book 1. So the Celestial Kingdom duology. This is book 1, and that's duology, Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lin Tan. This book was definitely made for the big screen. Just the imagery in this book. So we have our main character, Jingyan. She's the daughter of the moon goddess, right? And so her and her mother have lived in this, realm, just them and mom's like helper. They've been isolated from the rest of the world and from the rest of the, the kingdoms. And Jingyan didn't think anything of it. She thought she had it made, but she soon has to flee from her home. Something happened. She has to leave home. And then eventually she finds out that, hey, her mother was actually exiled there because of something she did or something she was accused of doing. So Jingyan goes on this adventure to, clear her mom's name and win her mom's freedom. This is like an epic fantasy This, think Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, think Curse of the Golden Flower. Like, I can see that. I could see this book being played out in that sense with all the visuals that Sue Lin Tan gives you in this book. I mean, it's made for the big screen. The last one I want to talk about is Legend Born by Tracy Deonn. This series, who doesn't love a King Arthur retelling? I think pretty much every recent movie about King Arthur, I've watched it. I remember when I was a kid, there was a cartoon about Princess Guinevere, and I do remember like totally eating that up as a kid. So I think this would be great as a movie, as a series. I mean, first of all, it gives a fresh take on it. So we have Bree, she is this young black girl who gets accepted into a program at, the University of North Carolina. And she witnesses a magical event and it's like, oh wow, hey, magic exists in the world. So then somehow her path really gets her, she crosses paths with this group of, students who actually happen to be a part of this secret society that it's the descendants of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Book one is pretty much, focusing on, Bree's quest for answers, regarding her mom's death. So we've got a lot of mystery wrapped in this. We've got action wrapped into this. We got a little love story wrapped into this. We all know the story of, Arthur and Princess Guinevere and Lancelot. we all know about that little trio, right? So we do got a little love triangle in this book series too. So, if the universe gives us another, King Arthur film adaptation, I want it to come from this book. All right, guys. Well, that is all that I have for you. Those are the books that I would love to see on the big screen, on the small screen. What are some books that you think would make excellent movies or excellent television series? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. And until the next one, friends. Bye.